There comes a moment in every childhood when the road no longer leads back by evening. Nika had known short adventures, secret escapes, and punishments that ended before supper. But growing up is a different kind of departure. It does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it begins with a bundle, a blessing, and a long look at the village you were leaving behind. Hugh Molesty had shaped him without asking. The river had taught him freedom. The school had taught him fear in words. His mother had taught him love with a stern voice. His father had taught him the dignity of work. The village had taught him that every person carries a story, even the ones who seem ordinary while they stand beside a fence. When Nika left for further learning, the world seemed both exciting and cruel. He wanted to become something, but he did not want to stop being the boy who knew every path home. That is the difficult bargain of growing up. You must walk forward carrying places you cannot return to in the same way. The new roads were longer. The rooms colder. The faces less familiar. There were moments when ambition fell thin beside loneliness. He missed the laughter, the scoldings, the river smell, the way evenings settled over the village rooftops. He discovered that home is not always loved most while we are inside it. Sometimes we understand it only after distance has made it glow. Years passed. The restless boy became a man. The man became a storyteller. He sat at a desk, with memory opening around him like a lamp in a dark room. One by one, the old scenes returned: the cherry tree, the hoopoo, the school, the river, the parents, the friends, the dust, the bells, the fear, the shame, the laughter. He did not make childhood perfect. That would have been false. There had been hunger, anger, embarrassment, punishment, cold mornings, and foolish choices. But there had also been a brightness that belongs only to the beginning of life, when every path is new and every mistake feels like the end of the world until tomorrow arrives. The miracle of memory is that it changes the weight of things. A scolding becomes tenderness. A punishment becomes comedy. A village becomes a universe. A parent's tired face becomes sacred. Friends who once seemed merely noisy become figures in a kingdom that has vanished. Nika wrote because the child inside him had not disappeared. The child had grown quieter, but he was still there, running beside the Ozana, hiding among leaves, fearing the teacher's chair, listening for the hoopoo, and pretending not to hear his mother calling. Writing gave that child a place to live again. And through the story, Hugh Molesty became more than a village in Moldavia. It became a map of childhood itself. Anyone who had been young could recognize it. Not the exact river, perhaps. Not the exact school. But the feeling, the world huge and intimate, adults mysterious, freedom urgent, mistakes unforgettable, home ordinary until it is gone. That is why the memories still move us. They do not ask us to admire a perfect boy. They ask us to remember what it meant to be alive before we understood time. They remind us that children are always living stories before they know how to tell them. At the end, the grown man looks back and sees the boy clearly. Wild, proud, frightened, funny, loved. The boy does not know what he will become. He does not know that his small troubles will one day travel farther than he ever did. He only knows the river is shining, the sun is warm, and somewhere a mother is calling him home. Childhood passes. The good passes. The hard passes. But if someone remembers with enough love, a lost world can breathe again. The hoopoe calls from its tree. The Ozana moves in the light. The village roads wait in the dust. And for one golden moment, home is not lost at all. When Nika becomes a storyteller, he does not simply report what happened. He returns to it with the tenderness of someone who has lost it. That is why the final part carries a different light. The jokes remain, but behind them stands a man who knows that the people he remembers are no longer waiting exactly where he left them. A child believes the present is permanent. A grown person knows it is already disappearing while we live it. This knowledge changes memory. It makes the ordinary sacred. A bench is no longer only a bench. It is the place where a child feared a lesson. A tree is no longer only a tree. It is the tower from which stolen cherries tasted like victory and disaster. A river is no longer only water. It is summer itself, moving away. The parents become larger in memory too. Smaranda is not only the mother who scolded. She is the guardian of the boy's life. Stefan is not only the father who worked. He is the quiet example of endurance. The grown storyteller can see what the child could not, that love often arrives disguised as duty, worry, and repeated instruction. Writing gives Nika a second childhood, but not one he can change. He can only look at it carefully. He can laugh at himself. He can forgive the boy for being foolish. He can forgive the adults for being strict. He can gather everyone into language and let them live there a little longer. This is why the story matters beyond one village. Every person has a Humulesti somewhere. It may be a street, an apartment, a farm, a schoolyard, a block of flats, a courtyard, or a road by the sea. It is the place where the world first had edges, names, smells, and rules. It is the place we spend years trying to leave and then years trying to remember. The storyteller understands that childhood cannot be returned to by walking. You cannot go back and find the same morning waiting. The people have changed. You have changed. Even if the road is there, the child who ran on it is gone. But memory offers another kind of return. Not perfect, not complete, but powerful enough to make the heart recognize itself. So the ending is not only nostalgic. It is grateful. It says that a life is made from small moments before anyone knows they are important. It says that laughter can preserve pain without denying it. It says that the simplest village, remembered honestly, can become literature, cinema, and home for people who never lived there. In our Robot Kingdom version, the little blue boy becomes an old storyteller with glowing eyes softened by time. Around his desk, the village appears again, the school, the river, the cherry tree, the hoopoe, the parents, the friends. They are not ghosts meant to frighten him. They are lights. They remind him that nothing loved is entirely lost while someone can still tell the story. And when the final image returns to the Ozana, it is not because the river solves everything. It does something quieter. It keeps moving. It carried the child once. It carries the memory now. Somewhere in that golden distance, Nika is still running, still laughing, still in trouble, still loved. The storyteller closes the book, but the childhood inside it remains awake.